I just want someone to rescue her.
I know.
Dragon! Help us! I know you're busy with Colin.
Yeah. Why can't you make Dinah into a cyborg? I bet she'd look good with an eye patch. Welcome to Inchworm,
The podcast in which we're inching through Worm. I'm Jenny.
and I'm Ted.
All right, and we read an interlude. It was 11F.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's in the vault with Dinah. Someone's in the vault. It's Noelle.
I just had the Dinah, won't you blow thing stuck in my head the whole time. Violet has been really into that song lately, so, very relevant to our lives.
Yeah. Anyway, thoughts on this chapter?
I did not call it. Well, I both didn't call that it would be Dinah. Totally forgot about Dinah in my whole, who's going to be recruited thing. It's unclear if it was going to be Dinah.
Yeah.
No one was recruited at all.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Noelle. Did I predict Noelle? I think maybe I did at some point. I don't know.
I think it's come up.
Yeah.
You sort of forgot that the Travelers were a potential
I did forget the Travelers
pool.
existed. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
You didn't completely forget. We got there. But...
Oh, no, I do remember. I talked about whether the Slaughterhouse 9 would want Noelle because whatever she does or needs is so expensive that maybe they wouldn't want to provide that.
Yeah.
So...
But yeah, one of the going theories of the characters in the chapter is that Crawler is coming after Noelle here.
Right. And we don't actually get anything confirmed. We don't actually see Crawler at all.
I know.
Which, it's one of those things where, the horror movie monster doesn't get shown, so it's scarier. Nicely done.
And that's true of Crawler. It's also true of Noelle.
That's so true!
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, the two quote-unquote monsters. Should I tell you what happened in this chapter?
Please.
Okay. So, we join Dinah. We get a little bit of an illustration of how her power works, how she has lots and lots of little pictures, like little film reels in her mind. And when she focuses, she can organize them into two groups and get a sense of the numbers, like the number of pictures in one group versus the other, which tells her the odds of one thing happening versus the other. And they're basically different universes, and it's constantly changing as some universes are snuffed out, others are spawned from the existing universes. And there are two of what she calls terminuses. One is the present, which is always moving through and erasing the other universes that didn't happen. And the other is her death, which happens at some point in every single universe. So when those universes end, in the future, that's when she dies in that universe. And she can't see beyond the point of her death. So right now, she's looking at these collections of universes, and in a lot of them, 43% of them, she dies very, very soon. And she goes to tell Coil. Coil is on the phone. He's talking about replacing their Leah, talking about how someone's starting to recruit again. We don't really get any insight into that. But he turns to Dinah, and she tells him that she's going to die soon, and, in many of these universes, and that there's also a really high chance he will die. And same basically for everyone in this complex. They don't have great odds if they leave. He keeps asking questions. People outside of their complex are fine, so it's localized on them. And he asks her about, what if we do this? What if we do this? And all the things that he mentions either make it worse or don't help. And she asks for more of the candy. This is a thing that happens a lot in the chapter. She's starting to get a headache from using her power so much, and she wants the candy to help with that. And he says no, Pitter can't administer it until after the situation is over, and he wants her head to be clear. And then he asks about the chances of surviving Crawler's attack. That's something she hasn't mentioned, and she can tell that Coil is using his powers. And when this happens, the numbers in her head shift rapidly, and he will know things that he can't have known otherwise. So he probably asked her questions in another reality and got this information that Crawler is the one who's attacking. So he kind of grabs her, pulls her a little bit painfully out of his office, and gets his soldiers ready for battle, which, as Dinah knows, isn't really going to help because the numbers don't change enough from that. And the Travelers come up. Trickster, Oliver, and Sundancer is how they're introduced. We get some description of them. Coil gives some explanation of who Crawler is. He's a regenerator. When he gets damaged, part of him grows back, stronger than before, and with abilities it didn't have before, and those changes are permanent. Ridiculous power. So powerful. And what happens is that he becomes Crawler becomes immune to whatever was hurting him and starts looking for more and more things to hurt him because he wants to get more powerful. There's sort of almost a masochistic death wish type dynamic going on, except that, of course, it doesn't actually kill him. He just gets stronger. He's really the embodiment of what doesn't kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Coyle says if he's coming here, it might be because he wants someone who can actually hurt him. The only individuals who would be capable of that are Sundancer and Noelle. And Dinah confirms that Crawler will seek out Noelle if given the opportunity. And Trickster says, just like Leviathan, Crawler's coming after her. Coyle tests the theory of, like, can we just give him Noelle and they would survive the next hour, but very low odds they survive the next 5 hours. And Coyle asks her to do something she really doesn't want to do, which is look at one of the specific pictures in her head rather than just all of them as an aggregate. And she doesn't want to do this because, as she says, it breaks her power. It hurts her so badly, like really excruciating pain to do this. And it's days or weeks before she can sort the pictures back into any kind of order in her head. She kind of has to rebuild, heal her power from this. And Coyle's like, well, would you rather die? And she thinks about it and thinks maybe yes. But Coyle threatens that if she doesn't do it, he will keep the candy from her. And she knows how bad that would be. It's happened once before. And the feedback loop of seeing how she will feel in the future just makes it so much worse for her. And again, won't kill her, but will make her wish that it could. So she agrees to look at a specific picture. It hurts so much. And she starts throwing up. Sundancer grabs her and holds her while she does it and kind of comforts her as she recovers from the intense pain of this. Comforts her even when the others are like pressuring Sundancer to hurry Dinah along. And then Dinah kind of comes back and describes what she saw in the picture, which was that everyone was in the dark, it smelled like meat, we're pressed close together, there was a big metal door, and she realizes it's the vault downstairs. And that everyone was there. All of the people here were in the vault with Noelle. And so Coyle picks her up. Everyone runs downstairs. I'm not sure if I mentioned before, this was specifically a scenario in which they all survive. So Coyle picks her up. They all run downstairs, get into the vault, and Coyle asks her for the odds that Crawler will kill them now that they've undertaken this route. Dinah really doesn't want to try to get the odds, but she does. And the odds are 3%, so they're on the right track. And then Trickster wants to know the odds that Noelle kills them all. And Dinah's like, no, please, every time I do this, it all falls apart again, and it hurts really badly. But she does manage to look, and it's about 10% odds that Noelle kills them all. So they go into the vault. It smells like meat that has gone bad. And there's a dark corner where Trickster is talking to Noelle, so we don't get to see her. Noelle is apparently scared and hungry. She says she didn't get her meal tonight. Coyle's like, no, I saw her get her meal. It might be she's starting to need more food. Unfortunate to find out now. She asks for the lights to be out in the whole room, so they do that. And then Sundancer has her arms around Dinah while they're all just waiting. And Sundancer whispers to Dinah while they wait. She apologizes for not helping her. And you realize she's talking about not helping Dinah escape. And she says that maybe it sounds stupid, but she and the other travelers have made this promise to each other. They've been through hell and back with each other, and she kind of can't turn her back on them. Dinah just holds her hand, finds Sundancer's hand and holds it. And we hear someone who's presumably Crawler hitting the vault from the outside. And Noelle starts talking about how hungry she is, how she can't wait. She can smell them, meaning presumably the people. And Dinah's like, yeah, she wants food like I want candy, and she could attack us and take it. She has the power to get what she wants. I don't. Mm-hmm. And Trickster is kind of talking Noelle through, you know what your power does. None of us want that. Mm-hmm. And he reminds her that Oliver and Marissa are there. Sundancer reminds her of the promise they made to each other. And she kind of backs off. She and Trickster go back into the corner to talk alone. And Dinah, in the quiet that follows, sets about trying to reorganize the pictures in her head. It seems like a really tedious task, and it's a lot easier when the numbers aren't changing constantly. So right now is a tough time to do it. And the passage of time will help. So she will recover from this, but it's very hard. A lot of time passes while she does that, and eventually they do end up leaving the vault. Seems like they're okay. Crawler isn't there anymore. There are like claw marks on the outside of the solid steel of the vault. The catwalk is kind of collapsed. Like there's a lot of damage. And Dinah asks for candy and Coyle says yes. And she gets taken back to her room. And before she falls asleep, she uses her power one more time. She's like, I know I'll regret it, but after this I won't use it for a long time. So I need to have this to hold on to. It takes her, several minutes maybe to sort through the pictures and get the answer she wants. And she gets the number 31.6%, which is more than 4% higher than it was yesterday. The odds that she'll get to go home someday. Really, really touching end to the chapter. Like that really, really gets you.
Yeah. And the thing is, she's so trapped. She's such a prisoner. And I think we'll talk about that dynamic. But after being put through this ringer and being tortured by Coyle and, Trickster a little bit with the use of her power, the fact that she does something just for herself is so, inspiring, right? Yeah. She has not been totally crushed under the weight of her imprisonment. And so, it's like the stakes for sort of the idea of, can Dinah be rescued? Or a little bit
she can still be rescued.
Is it too late for her? And, right, this is showing it's definitely not too late.
Yeah.
Right? There's, we'll talk about how bad of a situation it is. But, yeah, it's a beautiful moment. Yeah. And it's such a low number.
I mean, it's almost a third.
Yeah.
Maybe if Taylor changes her plans, it'll go higher.
I know, right?
Taylor's plans are so bad.
Well, and you wonder how often she checks. You wonder, what the trajectory is.
Well, I guess it was the day before. Yeah, just yesterday it was below 30%. Yeah. It's a huge leap.
Right, and if, how many questions does she get asked per day? It was 5 or 6, I think Coyle said, back in Arc 7. So, if she's holding on to one a day for herself, that's, also kind of a show of resistance.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, and I wonder, this makes me so curious about what made the odds go up. Is it Sundancer? Sundancer clearly is not okay with this situation. And I was a little bit confused when, Sundancer was like, it's not that I couldn't help you. And I was like, Sundancer can't heal her, headaches. What's going on? And I was like, oh, no, I'm looking way too small. This is a much bigger picture thing. We've gotten, I wonder when we'll get our Sundancer interlude, because we've seen so much of her now. And I really like her from what we've seen from the outside.
Yeah.
But it's clear that she also is in this really difficult position.
Yeah.
Where she, it seems has been through a lot with the Travelers, to the point where, they are all really tightly bonded.
Yeah.
These people are the most important thing in the world to her. And whatever is going on with Noelle, they can't deal with that any other way than being what they are.
Yeah.
I was wondering, when she was really taking care of Dinah while she was throwing up, sort of in the middle of the chapter, I was like, why did she become a villain? She so clearly cares about people, dislikes violence. I remember her reaction to Taylor carving out Lou's eyes.
Yeah.
They're all about to die, potentially, and she's telling Trickster not to rush Dinah because of the pain she's in.
Yeah.
She so clearly cares about people in a very immediate sense. She doesn't think ends justify means, maybe. But here she is as a villain. And then when I got to the part where she was talking about, the vow that the Travelers all made to each other, I was like, oh, okay, this is it. This is her tangle.
Yeah.
I was wondering, actually, at that point, I was like, is Noelle her sister? Could still be.
Yeah, we don't
Trickster's
know.
The one who was mostly talking to Noelle, so I didn't get the sense that Sundancer has the closer relationship with her, but related or not, clearly there's a really strong found family bond there. And yeah, we don't know what the deal is with Noelle, but it's clearly real bad.
Yeah. Sundancer, right, she's, again, I feel like of all of the Travelers, we mostly have gotten characterization from Sundancer and Trickster. And Sundancer is kind of the nice/good one. And it's a little bit of well, what are you doing here, Sundancer? Or maybe she's a little bit of an audience insert into all of the craziness that's going on. And Trickster is the one who seems to be he's the leader, and he is maybe occasionally making decisions that are playing fast and loose or a little more morally gray. At the very least, like, Sundancer often seems to be like, come on, trickster.
Yeah,
like in the fight against the wards, there's a beat with Vista. There's one in this chapter here.
She's the Cassie to his Jake.
So,
to use the Animorphs reference.
Right. So we're getting that dynamic. We get a little bit more from Noelle here, but this thing that keeps them all together very much feels like it's in conversation with this theme of, like, friends versus morals, right?
Mm-hmm.
She has found herself in this villain gang, and she has made the, like, Brian-esque calculus of, like, I gotta stand by my people.
Yeah.
And that means that even though I might feel like Taylor does when I look at Dinah, it's not worth it to me. There is some greater good to me that is preventing me from helping somebody who's in need.
Yeah.
The interesting piece about that, though, is you get to see a very pragmatic take on the vow. It's not just a, like, oh, Sundancer's so precious about her found family. She's, like, blinds to the good she could be doing, right? Noelle starts to say, I'm hungry.
Mm-hmm.
I can smell them. And Sundancer's like, remember the promise we made, right? So we see that the promise is also binding Noelle to her humanity.
Yep.
Right? And so there's a very practical kind of bargain that Sundancer's making, which is kind of like, I can't turn on them because it's not just that I owe them, it's that the fact that we are a team is keeping
if she breaks
the situation
that bond,
under control.
Who knows what would happen with Noelle. Yeah. And we don't see her necessarily think about that consciously, but that certainly is a valid factor to consider.
Remember the promise we made!
I mean, you're so right that is such a strong theme. The power of community and the temptation of community, but, like, what it offers is real and is good and is necessary. Yeah. It's almost a riff on the Spider-Man thing of, like, I can't date you. It would be too dangerous. It's this thing where, like, when you have this much power, your ties to other people are really dangerous. And they can be forces for good. They can be forces for evil. They don't have to be good or evil in themselves, but they can just bring you into these tangles. And we talked during the gala fight about how Colin is not someone who tangles himself. And he very deliberately didn't start a family. Yeah. Because he didn't want that potential tangle that would cause him to compromise what he believed in. Yeah. Yeah. God, what a great theme. And it's funny that Taylor is feeling that power, but she's taking a very different stance on it than Sundancer is. Like, she briefly decided, like, no, these friends are more important than, like, sort of my abstract morals. But as soon as Dinah was in the picture, she's like, no, this is the most important thing. Right. I mean, I still think that's dumb, but...
Right, but from a more pragmatic sense, right? It's like, and so that's a really interesting thing to tease out, because we could imagine Sundancer having the exact same reaction. And I wouldn't necessarily say that Taylor or Sundancer seems to be more rational in their behavior. No, it's just kind of more like Sundancer had those constraints that led her to a different decision.
To the Undersiders aren't nearly as strong.
Exactly. And then a lot of shoes have dropped since Arc 7 anyway, so the picture for Taylor is a lot more complicated. But it really underlines how much your circumstances affect the moral choices you make. Yes. Right. It's like Taylor does want it to be more black and white than it is, but it would, if Taylor sat down with Sundancer, I do wonder if they had an open conversation, if Taylor would be like, oh, I get it.
Oh, I'm sure she would. Yeah. I think I would love them to be allies. Like,
I know. I think we just have the long list of, like, people we want Taylor to be friends with.
If Sundancer and Taylor could have this conversation, I bet Sundancer would help Taylor free Dinah. Yeah. Like, she might not be willing to, like, do it in a way that would compromise the Travelers being able to still get what they need for Noelle. But if she could help in, like, subtle ways, she would absolutely do it.
The version of Taylor that is not an Undersider, but post-Arc 8 is putting together a supergroup, would definitely be on a narrative path to collide with Sundancer, right? Like, putting your gang together.
Yeah. All these people who I really just want her to be friends with. It's true. Maybe it'll happen. It's a long book.
Maybe it'll happen. Did you want to tell me some more about your thoughts about Noelle?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I still just really don't know.
A lot of good teasing in this chapter.
So one thing that I thought was notable, I don't know what it means, but while they're there, I guess, so Trickster's name is Kraus.
Yes.
Yeah. Oliver, I'm assuming, is Ballistic.
Reasonable assumption.
Yep. And Marissa seems to be Sundancer.
Yes.
We don't know where Genesis is.
True.
We didn't hear anything about Genesis in this entire chapter.
True.
Is Genesis even a person?
Who knows?
Is Genesis a projection from Noelle?
Interesting.
I don't know how that would work. Is Genesis a projection one of the others can create? Mysterious and intriguing. If it is a projection from Noelle, it can't be the only or main part of her power. We know that she's incredibly strong. She says that if one of the soldiers shot her, it wouldn't kill her, even if she wanted it to. And Trickster says, when she says, I'm hungry, I can smell them, Trickster says, like, you know what your power does. You don't want that in here. So it's something terrible.
Something terrible that involves what?
Eating people?
Yeah, okay. I didn't want to say eating people first, but that's the implication, right?
That is definitely the implication.
And with the rotting meat,
yep,
I mean...
The vault smells like rotting meat. She can smell, I assume, the people. It's the obvious antecedent for them. She's hungry. She seems like she wants to eat them. Does that mean that Coil has been feeding her humans? I'm not sure that makes sense with the expense thing. Like, the travelers were saying before, like, they needed, like, massive amounts of money.
Yeah.
But, like, do they need massive amounts of money to buy people to feed to Noelle? Like, that doesn't quite make sense. Like, if she's this strong and monstrous, she could just, like, go out and eat people. Like...
I guess.
And they have her locked up so that she doesn't hurt people. But, like, are they actually having people killed for her?
I mean, it seems to be a literal hunger that we're talking about here. It seems like she is interested in eating people.
Right.
I don't know
that might not be the thing that she
know.
always needs to eat. Or the thing that she most needs to eat.
We don't even know if she has an expensive taste, right? We don't really understand, like, is it pure quantity, right? And there's this whole thing of, like, she just got fed, but now she wants more. So so what is the rate at which her consumption is growing, right? It seems like it's difficult to keep up with, right? So, like, I feel like I don't want to dissuade you from following they're rounding up and capturing people to feed to her theory.
It just doesn't make sense that...
But I think what it is she's eating more and 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 more, whatever she's eating. And
maybe it is just quantity.
Yeah.
They need a lot of money because they need a lot of food.
Yeah.
Because I do think if it's just like, oh no, she needs to eat people, like, if they want to feed her people, they don't need money for it. They're supervillains. They can just kill people. Like, that doesn't make sense to me as, like, the main obstacle, that it's people.
Well,
like,
that's interesting. I mean, do you think Sundancer would go along with that?
Well, no, but I don't think she would go along with it less than she would go along with having Coil pay money to have people be killed. Like, it's kind of 6 of 1.
Right. And like, then it's like, what do you do if it is literally she needs to eat people to survive? It's like, well, what do you do with that if you're someone like Sundancer? That's a good question. Very sticky situation.
Sundancer, based on the conversation she has with Dinah, might still choose to keep Noelle alive.
Yeah.
Because it seems like they've made a vow.
Yeah.
This bond between them is so strong. But it is hard for me to imagine her going along with a long-term, Noelle needs to eat a bunch of people every day situation. Like, that just seems like it would strain the bounds of her support for her friend.
I mean, hopefully it's not that.
Hopefully it's not that. Maybe it is just quantity.
There are some other interesting details that there seems to be a steel cage inside the vault with, like, a perimeter. And then also this detail that works on kind of a narrative level, but also, I'm curious if you have any speculation about it, that Noelle doesn't want to be seen, or she doesn't want to see the people. Like, Noelle is in the dark. Does that spark anything for you?
I don't know. I feel like this is one of those things where once I learn it, I'll be like, oh!
Yeah.
But I do wonder if she is Genesis, if she's connected to Genesis in some way. Like, if those monstrous forms are actually what she looks like, then that might be, she might not want to be seen. It could just be as simple as she doesn't want to see the people because it'll make her hungrier for them. I don't know.
There is a detail and something that you just said. If the soldiers tried to shoot her, it wouldn't do anything, even if she wanted to. We've seen in all of these chapters people in the Slaughterhouse 9 choose their targets out of a sense of, like, there's some kind of parallel going on.
Oh, yeah.
And that is something that, of the few things we learned about Crawler, is true of Crawler and Noelle.
We know a lot more about Crawler than we do about Noelle.
That's, I think, a good candidate for she was the target.
Yes.
Somebody who is hard to hurt.
For whatever reason. Yeah.
We also get the tantalizing theory that Coyle and the Travelers have kind of gotten all on board with, which is that Leviathan was coming for Noelle.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But why?
Why
would an Endbringer care?
Yeah, and how do Crawler and Leviathan even know?
Disturbance in the Force kind of thing?
I guess we do sort of know that newbie on the Slaughterhouse 9 can find people. We don't really know what exactly that means, but... I
mean, there are thinkers who know things that they maybe shouldn't know. But we know so little about the Endbringer's motivations, origins, goals. It's really hard to say. We do have two potential goals for Crawler, that he could have been trying to recruit her, or he could just want to have been hurt by her in a way that would make him stronger. We get so much in this chapter about the theme of, like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. In Crawler's case, that's true.
Yes.
In both Dinah's and Noelle's cases, in Dinah's case, it's not true. Like, what doesn't kill her can be really painful. It doesn't make her stronger. It makes her weaker for a long time. Yeah. And we don't really know either way for Noelle, but both of them talk about, like, it would be better to die, but I can't from this, like, in Dinah's case, I cannot die from this pain. This pain will not kill me. And in Noelle's case, it seems like maybe nothing could kill her. Yeah. And that is, for both of them, that's like a negative. Like, Dinah's like, well, if I did die, hopefully I'd go to heaven. If I stay here with this pain, I'll be going through hell for weeks.
That's just, it's so brutal. Taylor's got to save this girl yesterday. Yeah. That was the bit.
Sundancer has to save her. Come on.
That was the bit that got me when she's just like, well, if I died, I'd, go to heaven, I hope. Yeah. Like, oh my God.
The way that Coyle is making her use her power, like, in general, it seems like, he's trying not to do terrible things to her, but, like, he does make her use her power for this in a way that she doesn't want to. Yeah. And in a way that causes her this excruciating pain. Yeah. And so, I mean, he is torturing her. Like, as he says, this is for her good, too, but, like, she's not free to choose it because he's also holding this threat of, like, drug withdrawal over her.
Yeah. And this is such a nasty thing about the way that her power works, and especially with someone like Coyle, right? What you have is this coercive threat, which is another big theme. He's sort of like, oh, I'm not going to give you your candy if you don't do XYZ. And we've seen Taylor make these kinds of threats, like, I've got spiders on you, I'm going to kill you if you move, and people could call her bluff. She probably wouldn't have killed them back in Arc 3 or whatever. But Dinah can see all of the futures where she defies Coyle. So she knows with certainty that he will not bluff and he will carry out his promise to put her through withdrawal. And so she, like, experiences all of those alternate realities, which, like, magnifies her desire to comply 1,000-fold, right? It's so grim. And the idea of just seeing the walls close in around you when somebody is threatening you that way, trying to find a narrow path through is awful.
Yeah, and the way she was talking about just sort of, he's carrying her, she wants to flinch away from his touch, but she knows when she does that kind of thing, when she acts repulsed, disgusted by him, any of that, she sees the numbers change. She knows that he is going to be colder to her, crueler to her. And so she is uniquely able to comply, to obey, to be this sort of obedient prisoner in a way that keeps him happy enough to, keep her life from being miserable.
Yeah, it's so sad. I mean, and it goes to show, right, I don't think that's something that Coyle recognizes, right?
No.
I think Coyle has this like, oh, well, in one reality, I lose my temper a bit. In the other reality, I can keep my cool. And like, that's... So I'm like such a model of restraint or whatever, right? And Dinah is very obedient, very compliant. He's having an easy time of it with her for the most part. But what he doesn't see and doesn't think about is that Dinah is constantly seeing the times when he's being tested, where he flies off the handle, right? We see him... Right, he's Mr. Cool and Collected. Again, it comes to crisis time. He's knocking his computer off his desk. He's shouting when he doesn't normally shout. Like, he's bad under pressure, right? Like, he's
even
so...
if he cancels those realities, she sees them ahead of time.
Exactly, right? So the fact that he's like, oh yeah, Dinah, she does whatever I say, right? He does not understand that she is the one who's like, oh, in order to get through this best, I will,
she's obeying the threat of the things that he does in the erased realities. Yeah. And it makes me, you were asking the question of like, is she still savable? She's still rescuable at the end. And it seems like yes. But also recognizing this dynamic she has going on where she's constantly analyzing the numbers and keying her behavior to it makes me feel better about like, we've seen her sitting at his feet just like blank faced. That's not because she's just broken to the point where she has no thoughts or feelings. That's because she is very carefully, like, that is the reaction that is safe for her.
Exactly.
She's not empty inside. Yeah.
I do want to bring up, though, the one contrasting point that I found really interesting in this chapter is sort of like, as I was reading it, when she thinks about the candy, she is like, oh, I want it. And she's like, really needs it. But she always justifies it as like, oh, it'll help me think more clearly. Like, I just need the candy so it'll be easier, right? Like, the way she thinks about it feels like a rationalization of an addiction in a way that I found really sinister.
It's really disturbing.
Right, because
she thinks she can't handle her power without it.
Right. And she doesn't think like, oh, if once I get the candy, then I'll just be totally zonked out and, I'll be high. Like, she's not chasing a high. Right. She's
chasing the disappearance of that pressure in her head to get that candy. Exactly.
So it's such a grim portrayal of addiction, and she doesn't really think about it, like as a drug that she's taking. She's like, no, but I need it. It would be better. I could really think clearly, and I could really get this together if I just had some candy right now.
She also, every time candy appears in the text, it's in quotes. Like, she knows it's not candy. I mean, maybe that's obvious, but like, it was just funny seeing that and being like, oh, okay, yeah, she's just going along with Coyle's word for it, but like, she knows. Even if I don't know exactly what drug it is, maybe she doesn't know, but like, she knows it's not candy.
I mean, yeah, and I don't necessarily want to say that she's thinking about it in an irrational way, but it's just, she's not explicitly talking about the dependency angle of it. Like, there's none like, I know I shouldn't. She's completely in she's completely in the thrall of like, I'm going to hurt less. I'm going to think more clearly. Candy's a priority.
Yes.
And that is really...
It's really scary.
Scary to see.
Yeah. The other thing I noticed about, this is when she's talking about she can see the numbers shift as she reacts in different ways to Coyle. She says, there was safety in the numbers, in following the rules she set on herself. It kept her power in order. It ensured Coyle was tolerant with her. It meant she didn't have to go without her candy for even a short time. There's almost a superstition thing. It reminded me of OCD. Like, she has to follow the rules she sets for herself, and the rules are dependent on these numbers. And the funny thing is just that, like, most people with obsessions, with compulsions, with superstitions, like, they don't really know. Like, it's an illusion of safety.
Yeah.
And for Dinah, I mean, it's not like perfect safety or anything, but, like, she knows.
Yeah.
Like, she is right.
Yeah.
And it is almost like a superhero version of, like, a very specific mental illness.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the way you put that. And again, I loved the realization that I don't think I even really understood the first time I read this chapter, that the reason she's kind of broken now, right? Like, what happens is she does the thing that her power doesn't want her to do, where she sees the specific future where they survive. And that breaks her power in a way that, like, her organizational system crumbles.
Yeah.
I was almost thinking of it as, like, she has, like, a database of the futures and, like, all the indexes got deleted. So each piece of data is now disorganized. And whereas before, there were a million different ways that you could, like, million different facets you could use to sort of, like, very quickly sort them. And when she has a moment alone, she starts organizing.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it is more a compulsion than a need, because, well, she could maybe just ignore the futures, right? If they're not organized, she can't use the prediction part of her power. But what we see her doing here is, well, I have a moment to myself. Okay, time to start organizing.
Yeah.
And that does really seem like a compulsive behavior, like you were saying.
Well, we talked about how our power is just a magnification of, you know, your fundamental flaw. Is this a magnification of obsessive compulsive tendencies for her? We also have talked about how, you know, Kid Win was saying this, like, when you have power, like, you want to use it. Like, she wants to keep her futures organized so that she can see, you know, it's a part of her brain now. It's a part of herself that she wants to be in good working order. Yeah. Yeah. And we also have talked about people whose powers look easy from the outside, but actually have all of this work that go into them. Like Tattletales was like that. Who else did we see recently who was like that? Labyrinth, that's right. Yeah. Hers is kind of like that, where, like, actually it requires all of this. Like, she calls it tedious work.
Yeah, while we're talking about her power, there's some other interesting things, right? This idea that she's compulsive about being able to see the future, right, is really interesting in the mechanical sense for how her power works. But one of the things that I really related to about her power is the way in which, you know, she's in this pressure cooker situation where she's about to die. So, like, it's magnified by the circumstances of this chapter. But her power is kind of like catastrophizing. She's always thinking about how she is going to die and can see it coming. She's always imagining all of the negative possibilities and then acting in a way to prevent those negative possibilities from happening. And like you said, she is actually doing that. She is seeing the future and, you know, responding to bad things that are going to happen to her. But it's very relatable to me, this idea of, like, imagining all of the things that could go wrong and focusing on that to the detriment of, you know, living a more normal, relaxed day to day.
You and I have also talked about how sometimes one of the helpful thought patterns when you have anxiety is to think, like, okay, what am I actually afraid of? Like, what would happen if these things that I'm afraid of came true? Like, what do these parts of myself actually fear? And, like, making that concrete. And you're like, oh, okay, like, I could live with that. Like, that's okay. But she is seeing these things for real, and maybe there are some she can't live with.
Right. On the other hand, all of this prognosticating can't kill her. Right. She can live in as much pain about the future as she wants, but she's going to keep on going until she hits a dead end, one of those terminus points.
I was actually thinking, just to jump back a little bit, we were talking about, like, would Sundancer go along with a situation where Noelle needed to just, like, eat a bunch of people every day? And I was like, I mean, I feel like no. I feel like at some point you kind of hit a limit there. But, like, what if the situation is that Noelle needs to eat a bunch of people every day? Nothing can kill her.
Ooh.
So, like, the most you can hope for is containment of the problem.
Ooh.
Like, if you set her loose, she might just, like, eat everyone.
Ooh.
I mean, maybe that's the thing that Dinah saw that's going to happen 2 years from now. I don't know.
There's also this beat of, what if we give Crawler Noelle? And Dinah's like, oh, well, we'll be fine in the next half hour. And then Dinah, clever girl, says, but we don't make it past 5 hours. So... yeah,
maybe that's...
There's definitely seems to be something catastrophic that could happen.
Funny thing about Noelle, we've seen a lot of capes recently, as we've been dealing with the Slaughterhouse 9, where their power seems to affect them in some mental level. Noelle seems to have it together mentally. Like, whatever happened to her, she hasn't changed to such an extent that she can't connect to the humanity of her teammates. Like she still is able to relate to her friends. She seems like a kind of standard issue human in the grips of this intense hunger. Like she doesn't seem like she's like mentally beyond.
Yeah, I will say I think there have been some warning signs in the text. The way Coyle talks about, I know that she had her meal, right?
Oh, that's
versus
true.
what
That's
Noelle
true.
says, which is I didn't.
Yeah.
Right? Like she's not saying I'm still hungry.
Right.
I think Coyle in his interlude was also thinking, I should have gone back to it, but he thinks something like she's getting worse. Like it was to me
true.
more implying like a sort of mental instability. And I think the thing that is scariest to me is that Trickster insists on asking whether Noelle is going to kill them
That's
all.
so true. Like maybe there are different mental states she gets into.
So even though it plays out really cool once he goes in, until he gets a good number from Dinah, he is worried about that, jumping from the frying pan of Crawler into the fire of Noelle.
More worried than he is about, the risk of staying outside.
Yeah. So there are definitely some warning signs.
Okay, you're probably right, but hypothetically, what if this is actually the specific thing you cited with Coyle saw her get fed? What if that's a warning sign for Coyle?
Oh.
What if he did see her get fed, but it's in a reality that he canceled and he forgot?
I love that. Oh, that's actually I love that theory.
Because if you can remember both realities, like what if you might forget which one you were...
Yeah, and
which one
under
you kept.
stress, right?
He's under a lot of stress right now, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, there's no reason they wouldn't have fed her in both realities. So.
I do like that theory, though. Coyle sucks so bad.
Yeah, he's the worst.
Yeah, he's so callous. The way Dinah thinks about him...
Okay, but if Dinah gets free, it's fine for him to rule Brockton Bay, right?
Hey, I'm not Taylor.
Your names start with the same letter. No, go on.
Kind of like you were saying with the way the body language, she wants to flinch, but she doesn't. She thinks earlier she didn't want to talk to him, but she wanted to die less. Like, What a statement. And the way that he basically says, okay, no, like, she told me using her power, she can't die from it, right? She's just like, whatever. But then when the travelers are comforting her, he's just like, this is just a symptom of her power. She might be dizzy, dazed. She might rub or scratch at herself until she fully recovers.
Yeah, keep her from scratching her corneas.
Yeah, don't let her scratch her corneas or rub herself until she bleeds. So, like...
This has happened.
That's happened before, and it may have happened to several alt-Dinahs, but he has seen it happen. And he's just, like, letting them know casually, like, oh yeah, this is the worst that can happen, and just make sure she doesn't scratch her eyes. Yeah, like, oh god, like, what a monster. I do think it is fun, though, to see him be smart the way that he narrows in on the problem.
Yeah.
Where, like, once he realizes they're about to die, he very quickly figures out, okay, it's not that the city's going to blow up, it's that somebody's coming here, and then he figures out, he does get them into the vault working with Dinah successfully. And I mean, Dinah helps out.
He is very smart, yeah.
Without Dinah, they might have released Noelle, and that wouldn't have gone well.
He does, when he's talking about her the first time, he says, the only two individuals who could hurt Crawler are Sundancer and your Noelle. Which is interesting phrasing.
Yeah, because
distancing? I don't know.
But he did say back in the limo, my tattletale. Like back in the parking garage, or one of those early Coyle scenes.
Yeah.
So that
Noelle
is funny.
Is not his.
That is funny. Yeah. Oh, that's a really good detail of how he talks.
Yeah.
Another fascinating thing in the Coyle-Dinah dynamic that this chapter calls out explicitly that I didn't quite appreciate is that Coyle's like, what are the chances that I die? And she's like, 40%. But that's only in the realities where I'm still alive.
Right.
Right? So by default, he can never sacrifice Dinah, right?
Yeah.
Because she can only tell him about futures where she still survives, right? So, like, even though he's the type of person who absolutely would sacrifice Dinah in order to survive himself,
right,
he's too reliant on her power. So, like, all of these realities where she survives, right, we don't know for a fact that Coyle's odds of dying are greater than 40% in the realities where Dinah dies, but he can never know, right? He's kind of shackled to Dinah's future by having
not being able to see the alternative. Yeah. Do we think that Trickster and Noelle are a romantic item?
Well, if by we you mean you,
me, yes,
you can tell me if you think that and why. I don't think it's right for me.
No, true. I was just thinking about that because Trickster, I mean, he's sort of the leader of the travelers, but he is the one who was awakened to deal with her. That one time, he's the one who goes in to talk to her first. And when he's succeeded at calming her down, she's like, we could go talk, just the two of us. And that seems to be something she wants. And I mean, it's surely not a great relationship right now if they are in one. But I do wonder if that was what was going on when whatever affected her took effect.
Yeah. Would definitely be fun to see more of their dynamic. I mean, all of this traveler stuff is like, I feel like it's so fun to speculate about, but we just know so little.
I know, yeah. I'm also, so we don't get a cape name for Noelle tied directly to her. I am very curious if she is somehow Genesis. It's such an intriguing name. Like, it's an obvious, like, oh, she creates illusions, Genesis. But, like, it also implies, the beginning of a new world.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I wonder if there's some, like, she's a new type of being, like, and she's the first one kind of thing.
That's interesting.
If that's true, then, I mean, maybe that's why the Endbringers would want to destroy her, because...
Yeah.
Wait a minute. If the Endbringers want to destroy her, then was Dragon said something like 6 weeks or something before the next one is supposed to... I think Behemoth was supposed to attack? They're just going to come to Brockton Bay again.
I thought Endbringers never struck the same city twice. Oh, no.
You're thinking of lightning.
Oh, no.
God, that would be horrific. The city is in so much trouble right now. More damage, and they might as well just, like, clear everyone out for good. Like, just get rid of the city. Huh. Yeah, okay. I guess that's probably what's going to happen.
All sorts of ticking clocks going on here.
Behemoth, possibly, if I'm remembering correctly, is going to show up in, like, 6 weeks. And the world's going to end in 2 years. A lot going on.
Yeah. You mentioned Noelle's lack of a cape name. It is very interesting, and I think it must be intentional, that Dinah lists off the travelers as Trickster, Oliver, Sundancer.
When?
Trickster, Oliver, and Sundancer appeared running along the metal catwalk.
Sure.
We get the description of Sundancer has permed blonde hair. Oliver's chiseled, good-looking. Trickster has a hook nose and long hair that didn't suit him, but he's observant. But we always have whether Taylor is using cape names or not be significant. And so it's just really interesting that Dinah names them this way.
Seems weird that Oliver is always Oliver. Sundancer is always Sundancer even after Trickster says her name.
Yeah.
Trickster is always Trickster even after Noelle says his name.
Yeah.
And Noelle is always Noelle. Everyone calls her Noelle.
And it's not about being in costume, because none of the travelers are in costume in this scene. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Genesis either is someone else who's, like, distant and therefore can just be projected, but, like, it makes sense for it to be Noelle.
Interesting.
It's sort of an Occam's razor situation.
One thing you mentioned right at the top was the genre of horror that this chapter is. I mean, we've been really running the gamut of different horror movies, but this is the monster movie with the unseen monster, right? You get Crawler and Noelle and, like, the pressure of, like, oh God, can we get into the panic room and survive? But not seeing Crawler is, like, such a, act 2 of the movie tease, right? It's like, I'm glad that they all survived, but I kind of wanted to see those futures that were blood red, just because I want to know what the deal with Crawler is.
I guess the ones where she survived were all dark because they were all in the vault. Yeah. Like, there was no other way to make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like that the Slaughterhouse 9 have not all been demystified.
Yeah.
It's like we've seen so many of them and they're so cool and, like, terrifying, but Crawler gets to remain in a class of his own. Yeah.
I did want to go back to Sundancer's confession apology.
Yeah.
Right. It's an ugly apology, right? It's so much more about Sundancer feeling better, right? Like, it is communicating to Dinah, but all it's saying is, like, oh, I want to be a good person, but I can't be. Sorry.
I don't think that's all it's saying. Like, I think it's also saying...
I'd help you, if I could, but I can't understand. I mean, yeah, it's like...
It's also saying, I want you to know that there's someone who feels terrible about what's happening to you.
You've got a friend in me. Yeah. But
And I think that does, like, I mean, Dinah doesn't, it's slim pickings, like beggars and choosers here, but like, I think it means something to Dinah.
Well, I wanted to connect it to Elle and Mimi in the Labyrinth chapter, where as Burnscar's on the way out, Labyrinth comes up behind her and is like, we had some good times, right? Gives her a hug from behind. Mm-hmm. And here, Sundancer bookends her apology with this like, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Maybe there's no justification. It's just they're all I've got. I'm sorry. Dinah reached up and fumbled around until she found Sundancer's hand. She didn't have a response. Couldn't speak if she'd been able to think of what to say. She just held the hand tight. Mm-hmm. And I do wonder if Dinah is just happy to have someone on her side, or if this is more like what Elle was doing in like, she sees that Sundancer wants her to forgive her a little bit. And so she's offering this physical touch, to put Sundancer at ease, even though she has every right to be mad, upset, frustrated by Sundancer's inability to actually help her.
I'd say that would be more probable if Dinah were in a better condition and her powers were working. Because if her powers were working, she might see, like, oh, if I do this, then I get better results. I maybe get help from Sundancer. I maybe get a little bit of friendship. But she doesn't have that. And she's so like beside herself with pain right now. Yeah. I think the idea of her doing something calculated to make someone else feel better just feels like such a stretch. It feels more to me like she's like, oh, this is a scrap of something that I so desperately need, and I'll take it even though... I don't think calculated... And again, I don't know how calculated Elle was being, but that kind of like, oh, someone's hurting, I gotta help them. Just having that instinctive response. It's just hard to help someone else who's hurting when you're in that much
pain. Theo shielding Aster's eyes from Oni Lee, right? A little bit of the impulse to do right by somebody.
It's fun getting all these characters one after another because you do start to pick out these little commonalities and themes, and because all of them deal with things in different ways, but there are these echoes.
Yeah, at the very least, I think it says something about Dinah's character that she is grabbing Sundancer's hand and finding connection. Even if she's doing it more out of a sense of, like, niceness than about feeling good in the moment. It is something that shows her character. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, Trickster is like, he's more morally gray, but I feel like he's not necessarily evil because the Noelle, like, he's like, I hate to do this, but can I get a number? Mm-hmm. Trickster, Sundancer admonished him, sounding horrified, right? Yeah. Like, it is kind of a yikes moment, but also, like, he's self-aware, right? Like, he knows.
Well, he doesn't want Noelle to kill Dinah also. Like, I don't get the sense that the Travelers in general are evil. I think they are really...
I wasn't sure if I was too hard on him, just contrasting him with Sundancer. It maybe is more of a Cassie Jake situation.
I think it is. I think they've really been...
Good traveler, bad traveler.
They've been backed into a corner. They all care about each other a lot, and they have this huge problem that they can't deal with on their own. Yeah. And it seems like they're all still kids.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. I guess we don't know for sure about Oliver, but I think we can assume.
Yeah.
I wonder if the reason that Dinah calls him Oliver, he's the good-looking one, I wonder if she has a little bit of a crush on him.
Oh, amazing. There was one weird little detail that I wanted to highlight, which is just that the woman who was supposed to fight Cricket in Hookwolf's chapter, Leah.
That's who that was.
That's the connection that you were trying to make.
I knew we heard that name.
Was a Coil plant. So it's just we have now learned about another person that Coil has put into a rival gang.
Yep.
We've had Chariot, Trainwreck, and then Leah. R.I.P.
So that was when Hookwolf starts recruiting again. We'll send someone else.
Yes. And I feel like Hookwolf wasn't, I think we didn't even really talk about it, but like Hookwolf wasn't that into Leah. Like,
no, he's like, she's not going to do anything good. Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of like, is it like I kind of want Hookwolf to be dumber, to Coil to have gotten the better of him here? Like, I feel like it's unclear how good of an infiltrator she would have been given who Hookwolf is.
That's an interesting question. I wonder if there was strategy involved in that.
Yeah. It's not particularly material now that she's dead.
Right, but she probably, if Coil sent her as a plant, she probably is extremely competent, and that's why Menya recognized it. And it's kind of, Hookwolf's being done by not recognizing it, but why didn't Coyle just sends someone who would conform more to Hookwolf's idea
Fit the
of
type.
like,
Yeah,
what a fighter should look like.
Yeah. Again, it's sort of a...
Maybe he wanted to send someone who'd be underestimated.
Yeah.
Unclear. Thank you for reminding me. I was like, I feel like this is significant, but why do I know this name? It's been a while since we recorded last.
I think you mentioned it, right. Dinah recognizing that Noelle is also an addict. And and the thing about Coyle being that he loves addicts. He loves somebody who has something, a dependency that's really straightforward. Right. And of course, the difference between like Noelle and Dinah, Noelle has so much more relative power, and yet they're both captives. It's just a fascinating contrast.
Yeah, it's a thing where, like, no matter how much power you have, if you do have this very hard to meet need, you're still captive to it.
Yeah.
It also just gets at, like, all of these capes are also human and have these weaknesses, and that's the interesting part.
Right. And going back to Coyle in the limo, like, approaching the Undersiders, he's like, well, Rachel, you need dogs, right? Like, oh, I figured you out. And how that's, like... Not like he didn't really quite get there with her, right? Like she's very happy to have help with the dogs, but as we saw with Siberian too, right? Like people don't tend to do a good job of actually
we saw kind of a similar
her.
Thing with Shatterbird and Hookwolf, where Shatterbird's like, you like all of this mythology and lore, and Hookwolf's like, no, I just like the aesthetics.
Yeah, exactly. Another L for the Slaughterhouse-9, though, in this chapter. Crawler leaves without what he wants.
Yeah.
So we're still in the bitch versus Hookwolf competition.
Kinda,
right now.
yeah. They're actually the only two recruits. Not even the only two plausible recruits. The only two people who are trying to be recruited. Oh, I don't want the dogs to have to go up against Hookwolf.
No.
But maybe they'll have the rest of the Undersiders to defeat Hookwolf.
That's true.
And then rescue bitch? I don't know.
Yeah. We also just get a lot of awful descriptions about the pain that she feels by using her power. It's like jabbing a hot poker into her brain.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a bit, like I love the imagery of her power. It's very Donnie Darko, the sort of like time is a worm that, you know, separates out and goes in front of you. There are like scenes in Donnie Darko where it's like the future is kind of this worm leaving your body, and you can see visually where it goes. And yeah, the sort of all of the writhing futures ahead of her, but that each future is also like a little glass film reel that cuts her as she is like reaching through them to try and grab onto one. It's very good imagery, and so evocative of how painful it is and how much she's suffering.
Yeah.
And another interesting thing, she gets like a migraine aura. Like when she's recovering, she smells bitter chocolate and coffee, which I think is like a type of symptom you get as a migraine aura, which or migraines, epilepsy. I think that's the kind of thing. So like brain pressure causing that kind of you know sensory flare up. Which another way in which her power is drawing from real things that people go through.
I just want someone to rescue her.
I know.
Dragon, help us! I know you're busy with Colin.
Yeah. Why can't you make Dinah into a cyborg? I bet she'd look good with an eye patch.
It's interesting that the likelihood that she will be able to go home again, that was true as of yesterday, where it was below 30, is like maybe roughly equivalent to the likelihood that Coyle won't succeed. Ooh. And I wonder if that's meaningful or if there is overlap of she gets to go home again and Coyle succeeds.
Yeah, that's really interesting. We
also learned that she can't lie about the numbers or it causes her pain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That hadn't occurred to me. But like, of course, if she is enthralled to this like man that she hates, it would be great for her if she could just lie about the numbers. Yeah.
She's really boxed in. And yeah, just the fact that she is, again, one of the most powerful capes that we have seen. It's an absolutely incredible ability. But the constraint that she can't lie, limited questions per day, she can't see a specific future, right? All of this stuff, right? She thinks at one point, like, my brain is telling me that my power shouldn't be used to find answers like that.
Yeah.
A fascinating lens into, why she has this restriction that she does.
Her power combined with shamrocks would also be really cool.
Yes.
Be really effective.
Another detail that I love this about the world building, the way Wildbow thinks so deeply about powers like this.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning, she's looking into her mind palace. Each of the tens of trillions of universes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not infinite.
Mm.
I am somebody who is not good at numbers. And I think most people are not good at really, really big numbers.
Yeah.
It's so hard to imagine, right, the difference between 1 million and 1 billion, right? Like,
but you know who's good at them.
Yes, but I looked it up. A human lives for like 2.5 billion seconds, right? And she sees all the potential futures that she's alive in. And so it just makes sense to me. Yeah, we're talking tens of trillions, right? Like that makes sense as like all the possible futures where she's alive. She lives in this dangerous world. But I love the idea that, right, she's not peering into the infinite future. It's incomprehensible to her mind, except in these broad gestures of like categorization. Yeah. But she is actually seeing the entire finite but very wide branching potential for her future.
Well, the funny thing is, like, she can count them.
Yeah.
Like, this is sort of like how Taylor's brain works, where she's able to handle these, nonsense amounts of bugs and direct them all basically individually.
Dinah goes to a crazy precision, right? It's
like
wild...
6 significant figures, 8 significant figures.
Oh, yeah, it's more. It's like 20. It's like it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a really, really long number.
Yeah. That's why Coyle's like, 3 decimal points when he asks her something. He's like, I don't need all of this.
Yeah. I love the specificity of it. It's really good.
Yeah, the power changed her brain such that she can handle these numbers, which is incredible. No wonder it's so tedious to reorganize it all.
I know. Oh my God.
It's like if you had 1 trillion little glass slides, like for, putting under a microscope, and you spilled them, and then you have to put them all away.
I know. And right. And now she's broken. She's going to be for days or weeks just idly, organizing her little warehouse of futures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's all I got. You have any predictions?
So let's revisit where we are. So I said it's been a long time since we've recorded. So let me see if I can remember. This is F. So that's the 6th out of 8 Slaughterhouse 9 members. And the ones we have left are Bonesaw and the unnamed one who can find people.
Correct.
So Bonesaw I thought would come to Panacea, to Amy. I still think that, because we haven't gotten any new wave people. They're a hero gang, but like we did have Colin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they recognized the psychological pressure that Panacea is under and thought she'd be a potentially good recruit. They seem to have a lot of information. So I still think that's going to be the next one. And then I don't know if we get another interlude after that or if we go to Taylor. I have no particular reason to think that Taylor will be the one approached by the unnamed one, except that, I don't see a connection in their powers yet.
Yeah.
Except that she's our main character, and so I kind of expect her to be included in this potentially, and the unnamed one is sort of the biggest surprise, so it makes sense to leave it for last. If it's not her, this is all kind of happening on the same night, so we know it's not one of the travelers unless it's Genesis, who isn't Noelle. Was there anyone left? Are there any groups left? We haven't seen any of the wards approached.
That's true. If heroes are on the table, that's a good group.
But we've already had all of the wards and interludes, and I don't know if we'll ever get a repeat. Sophia is the best get for them, and we did have her interlude, and she's probably already leaving town. I can't remember exactly how much time has passed since then. Not a lot, but a little. A few days at least, so she'd have time to get out of town. But would we have a repeat Undersider? Because we haven't had any repeats of other groups. What groups am I forgetting? I don't know. I'll stick with Taylor as the prediction.
I love it. So the next episode is going to be Panacea.
Yes.
And then we're going to start out Arc 12 to complete the cycle.
Yes, that's my prediction.
Love it. Love it. Would you like a sentence or a cape name?
Oh, I wonder if it's going to be the new Slaughterhouse 9 member. I would like a cape name first.
Cherish.
Cherish. How sweet. That could be the new Slaughterhouse-9 member. If it's like Cherish, like you get attached and then you can always find someone. It sounds a little like Heartbreaker with the
okay,
pulling you in through your emotions type thing. So I'm sure it's like, Cherish sounds like a nice word, but I'm sure it's dark.
Okay.
So it's like a little too twee for a hero, I feel like. Yeah. It's like, no, I just love the world. Like, I don't know. It seems not super likely. Yeah, I feel like there's some sort of like imprinting power. Like once you've like met someone, you can always find them or something like that.
Well, I will invite you to draw the line. If following this theory, if Cherish is the new member, you're speculating about her power. Draw the line. Why would she approach Taylor? Or based on your idea about who Cherish is, do you have another thought?
Would she approach someone else?
Yeah.
I mean, Regent, really, would be the one to make sense to approach.
Why?
I mean, because of the connection with Heartbreaker, I guess. Maybe that's not a very strong connection.
Just the vibe.
The vibe, yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of getting into people's heads.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, that would be interesting if it were two Undersiders and neither was Taylor.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the third one will be Taylor. I don't know. But also, we can't have a Regent interlude because we already had a Regent interlude.
That's true.
I mean, Gru does care about his family and friends. I don't think that's a very strong connection to this. But I do want his interlude, so I'm like, can I make it work? I don't know. I'm probably just forgetting the existence of someone else.
Well, I'll give you the last piece of data.
The first sentence.
For this episode. A teenager with a red streak died into...
her hair. Doesn't sound like anyone we've seen.
Don't think so.
Yeah. Right, because did Shamrock have red hair?
Yes.
But, like, that's not obviously the same. I don't think Amy has a streak dyed in her hair, but it would probably be from her perspective if it is her chapter. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to find out.
Next time.
On Inchworm.
Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildbow. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.